Yes, I want to welcome y'all all to the 23rd album, Between the Protests. We're gonna have to rise on this, y'all. But just before we begin, let me spit on these cats. Fake rappers, I respect none. DJs too, you know my way, we ain't you. 5, 4, and 3 are taken and we ain't 2. 33 years later, we ain't through. Black lives been mad as yo, cause we ain't blue. Selling out the culture, that is something we don't do. They call me the teacher, that be so true. Cause I mastered the element of MCing like CO2. We so new, you know what we've been through just to survive. All this debate about the top 5, put it aside. Here's the real top 5 list. It's KRS, Blastmaster, KRS-ONE, the teacher, and Chris. Rappers going through some type of identity crisis. G.O.D. is my image and likeness, they don't like Chris. My mother is Aset, better known as ISIS. I drop on the set like Horace, where the mic is. I'm the difference between what the real and the hype is. What the wrong and the right is, what the darkness and the light is. But rappers wanna fantasize about battling me. They sleeping, I'm over their whole head like a canopy. I'm chilling in Atlanta sipping daiquiris. Don't come after me, I rapid fire, rap rapidly. It's a catastrophe, you not as fast as me. OG rappers coming after me, they ain't back of me. You wanna come after me, here's the truth. I'm invading your space like Al-Andalus. Let's get loose, you can't hang, I got the noose. When I train on tracks, I'm the engine, you the caboose. I'm sipping the Remy Mar while I salute Papoose. I don't battle young rappers, that's child abuse. I'll tighten the noose, put my hands on you like a masseuse, and daylight your soul like I'm pasta noose. You'll be calling for a truce while I'm cooking your goose. Got the deuce, for when you chickens come home to roost. Man, I'm mobile like Boost while they failing. So I'ma put them down under like these dudes was Australian. Rappers couldn't see me in the 80s or the 90s. 30 years later, they wanna act like they grimy. Now they wanna find me in the new millennium. But I'm a cannibal, I'll breakfast, lunch, and dinner them.
Peace and much love, everybody.
Peace.
Peace. Minister,
how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm feeling the love, except for from YouTube.
Oh, I heard. I saw. You got frozen for a minute. It's all good.
Yes, indeed. I'd like to welcome everybody back this week. We have a very special study this week, gospel study, of which I believe we also have special guests.
It's family. It's not even a guest.
Right. Okay, right.
Not an invite. This is a foundational piece to this whole thing. So it's not a guest. It's a birther of this. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay, yes. So we have another the foundation of the cornerstone.
Yeah. Come on, that's right.
This is what it is.
Contributor, yes, to the whole idea, yes.
Word.
No doubt.
Is there anything you'd like to start off with before we begin?
Yes, I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to read from the gospel, page 144.
Word. No, that's
right. Okay. Let's do it. Welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am the Acronologist, G. Simone. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation, ministry, archive, school, and society established in 1996 by KRS-ONE, our teacher. Here, we are not just doing hip hop, we are hip hop. Therefore, our strategy to preserve hip hop begins with preserving the hip hopper. So our appreciation goes out to you for being here and for being part of the hip hop nation that we are preserving, along with ourselves. So today I want to read from page 144 in the gospel, and then we are going to turn it over to the teacher. But first, we are going to be met with a very important contributor to this book, The Gospel of Hip Hop. So let me begin. Page 144. From where you stand, sit, or lie, cleanse your mind with the following affirmation given to me by my mother, our mother, Jacqueline, years ago. Say the following affirmation 3 times every night before you sleep, and once in the morning when you awaken for 21 days. Feel this, accept this, and let me read it. I am not afraid. Today, I give myself permission to be all that I can be. New fields of divine activity now open for me. Unexpected doors fly open. Unexpected channels are now free. My mind is focused and directed toward my victory. I now create what I need with divine energy. Good things come to me easily, in peace, and at the right time. There it is. So be it. Yes. That piece that I just read to you was a gift from a very, very important and special person in my life, and definitely in the teacher's life. I'm sort of speechless to be here at this particular moment. There's a big story behind this, but I will just say that these words are for strength. These words were actually a gift to me, and that means to my family and to my husband and to the teacher, when my dad had passed away in 1997. And when I made one phone call, and immediately a priestess, a Kendake, a queen mother gave me those words. And our family and other families have lived by these words for many, many years, because this was given to us in 1997. The author of those words is here. I am so happy and honored. And I'm not going to cry. I'm going to just, I'm so thankful and appreciative. And I just am bringing on the person that planted the seed. I am bringing on the person that planted the seed, and that seed bloomed and blossomed into our teacher, the mighty, the blast master KRS-ONE. And it is my honor, and from the depth of my heart, to bring this Kendake, this queen mother, this mystic, to you today. May you please slide my way.
Thank you, Simone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is the seed that planted the roots in the teacher. And it is just, I feel energy even just sitting next to her. So I'm going to let her speak and say some words to you, and then we are going to bring the teacher on to finish to begin the love. And this is love. This is love. This is family. This is heritage and lineage. I just have to say that this is the queen mother.
Thank you, Simone.
Yes.
I mean, thank you.
Yes.
I'm honored to be here. I'm just so honored to be here with you, of course, and my son, the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm just overwhelmed because now the teacher has to teach me. I planted the seed, but the seed did the work and bloomed. And now I sit here humbly, waiting to be taught again. So the cycle is going around. And I would like to just say to the many single parents or single mothers, especially because I was a single mother during the time 1970 and 80, when things were quite rough. They were really rough. And I want to say, hold on to your children and plant seeds in them. You may not see the seed blossom for many, many years like I did. I didn't see the seed, but now the seed is full blown and assisting many, 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 many people in the world. I'm just so proud of my son, and I love you all. Even though I can't see you, this message will be about love, and I say love and peace.
Love
Thank
and
you,
peace.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, don't
Thank you.
end yet. Wait a minute. Let me get in here. Let me get in.
Look at all this energy. Whoa.
This is mom. This is mom. I don't know where you're gonna get it like this anywhere else, but this is the master teacher. This is Jacqueline Parker, the one who put my foot on the path of light. And as you can plainly see, I mean, there's much more to discuss and go into. We have our lecture today on love. We're reading that section as well. But this woman here is the one who planted her feet in 1973 at Cedar Park. We were there at 1600 Sedgwick Avenue. I would, I don't want to give up an hour of this discussion, but we always discuss this. Those that study with us discuss this, that the hand of God is on us, because even when we don't even know why we're moving places, moving where you thinking, you're moving because of your survival. You think you're moving because, got a new job in school. I'm trying to survive. I'm doing my thing. But there was another intelligence over that. And this woman right here, my mother, this Kendake right here, actually took pictures of us at the birthplace of hip hop, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, 1600 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. She took pictures. She was there. What made her be there? So I'm here. We're here picking brain, totally. All aspect of this brain is getting picked. And so this is what it is. So, I say to everyone out there, we just passed Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
you know that. So, as Mom just said, for mothers with their sons, look at her story. I mean, take a look at this story right here, these three faces, right here. You never know who your children are. You never know what your path in life brings. But if we can inspire you in any way, take this as an inspiration to move on one more week, to have that much more patience, to take forgiveness or give it. Either way, but hang on to your family, hang on to your children. In my case, hang on to your mom. So there it is. Now I'm pushing y'all off.
Well, we're going to slide off. So thank you, and peace and love.
Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes,
so
yes,
much.
yes.
I mean, my God.
So now this is what it is. This is what it is. I'm ecstatic to be giving this lecture here right now. And, my wife, my mother, and my daughter are all here, mother-in-laws and so on. And the family's getting bigger. And when I say that, the hip-hop family, us, we're getting bigger. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger in the sense that awareness is what the unity is. Unity of thought. Once you have agreement, you have everything. Once you have agreement, you have everything. And this is what our teachings are all about. This is what it means to study with us. At least the first part of it, what it means to study with us, is that this is our agreement. This is our agreement. We agree that hip hop is breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing. That's the first core four elements. And that hip hop is not only breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, but that it is also street fashion, street language, street knowledge, and street entrepreneurialism and beatboxing. This is the 9 elements that we teach. We know hip hop has a core 4 elements, and other organizations even teach health as an element or something else. They have 5 elements and so on. But for us to agree, we have to agree that hip hop is at least a culture. And when you look at it culturally, you get 9 elements, not just its 4 artistic elements. As teachers of the culture, this is something to agree upon. It's a foundational piece. We look at hip hop in three categories: capital H, lowercase I-P, H-O-P, one word. That's consciousness. Then you have hip hop, capital H, lowercase I-P, space, capital H-O-P. That's culture. And we're going to read this as well within this study. I'm just giving this to you right now as a preamble to what we're going to talk about. Hip hop as culture, capital H, lowercase I-P, space, capital H, lowercase O-P. That's hip hop as culture, 2 words. Then you have lowercase H-I-P, dash or space, lowercase H-O-P. That's rap music and rap related products. These are the 3 ways in which we approach hip hop. But again, not only is it accurate, but it's also part of an agreement. And that's what we're creating. When you say culture, you got to take that seriously. You have to take that seriously. You can't just say, "Oh, culture," and then live a music genre. If it's really about culture, then it's really about living, and it's really about raising the quality of your life. And that's how we're approaching hip hop. So turn your gospels now to, well, I had it right here too. Wow, that's interesting. Actually, I had my, I was doing some studying earlier today, and, came across that section that Simone just read. And what a wonderful reading that is, to also have your mother here, to have the contributor to that piece right here. It can also give even further insight. We're writing a second gospel. We're presenting a second instrument is what it's called. And we're gathering all the information from the elders, from scholars, from everyone in that sense. Turn your gospel now to page 24. Page 24 in the Gospel of Hip Hop. Those that have the Gospel of Hip Hop. Wait a minute. That's it. Gospel of Hip Hop. Okay. Gospel of Hip Hop came out in 2009. If you don't have a copy, you can go to KRS-ONE.com and get a copy, or just go anywhere books are sold, or ask your friends for one, or somehow get yourself a copy of this, because as we read through this, I'm giving certain, I'm giving certain highlights, which are also going to determine your attendance at the end of this entire course, at the end of the reading of this. You should have a clear understanding as to what we are teaching and the uniqueness of what we're teaching, the agreement. So I'm here at this first page. It's called The Love, and I'm on page 24. This is called The Love. Page 24, let us begin. Before and beyond the collective history of our recording contracts, platinum sales awards, and tour dates, we have been the direct recipients of a saving force, a spiritual form of intellect, a spiritual form of intelligence, which can only be described as love. But how soon did we forget who fed us when we were hungry, who taught us when we were ignorant, who clothed us when we were naked, who sheltered us when we were houseless? We were quick to pray for what we wanted in our time of need, but after we were out of the danger or satisfied in some way, we forgot that we've just prayed to something that actually responded. This is the key right here. Forget what you get. Okay, let me just read this to you one more time. We were quick to pray for what we wanted in our time of need, but after we were out of the danger or satisfied in some way, we forgot that we've just prayed to something that actually responded. The question is, how serious are you about God? Many people believe in God, but only a tiny few actually appreciate God and show it with a life dedicated to union with God. How soon did we forget how helpless and vulnerable we were before the threats of our enemies were miraculously dealt with? How can we forget? See, this is what's going on today. Oh, it's just hip hop. I'm just gonna get this money. But did you forget when before any of this, we was nothing in the Bronx with nothing? We prayed, and suddenly something answered us in the form of this thing called hip hop. And now we're gonna forget that? Because now we got a little money and we can eat, so we're gonna forget the times when we were broke and hungry? How can we forget? Such forgetfulness is almost always reminded by a return to hunger and powerlessness. Miracles happen every day, all day, but most people don't expect them, so they don't see them or experience them. strange, kooky type events go on all the time, and people simply disregard them as coincidences or they ignore them altogether, then they criticize their own spiritual experiences as not real or childish or naive. Most people cannot deal with the possible fact that what they are seeing is not all of what they are getting. Did you hear that? What you're seeing is not all of what you're getting. That there is a deeper, faster, stronger reality that can override the mechanics of their own physical universe and its laws. That things might not actually be the way we think they are. For most people, such a revelation is indeed scary and not even to be discussed. But for the select few, such a revelation is inspiring and encourages such people to learn more, seek more, and live more. This is what the gospel of hip hop is all about. It is about the restoration and further development of one's love for hip hop, because it is through love that we learn the deeper lessons regarding the nature of God. Now, here's what I want you to highlight. This whole next piece, paragraph 8. This is a highlight, paragraph 8. I'm on page 25. Paragraph 8, highlight paragraph 8. What am I highlighting? The gospel of hip hop points the way to a spiritually lived hip hop life. However, love is the code that tells the universe that you can be trusted with information that must be lived in order to be learned. Know this. The universe thinks and responds to your thinking. I know it's too simple, right? It's too simple. I'll say it again. Know this. The universe responds, the universe thinks and responds to your thinking. And this is the essence of what hip hop is for us. It is our relationship with divinity. Hip hop is what we are doing with our portion of God. Now, I want you to underline all of that or highlight it, however you bring light to this. This is key to the whole piece right here. The gospel of hip hop points the way to a spiritually lived hip hop life. Boom. However, love is the code that tells the universe that you can be trusted with information that must be lived in order to be understood, or lived in order to be learned. Know this, the universe thinks and responds to your thinking. And this is the essence of what hip hop is for us. It is our relationship with divinity. Hip hop is what we are doing with our portion of God. When we are performing the role of a pimp, a hustler, drug dealer, stick-up kid, whore, murderer, etc., this is what we are doing with our portion of God. The love that has rescued us from self-destruction. When we are performing the role of a teacher, minister, parent, volunteer, MC, etc., this is also what we are doing with our portion of God, the love that inspires us to self-create. So the question then becomes, what are you doing with your portion of God, with your proximity to divine mind? What are you doing? Fearing, doubting, wasting time, lying, cheating? This is what you're doing with your portion of God, with the life force that's within you. What are you doing with that? You take it for granted? Just say, yo, I'm just here. I wake up in the morning, I'm just here. Taking the God force, the mind, the energy of the universe pulsates through you. And we only gonna say, we ain't nobody perfect. I'm only human. Blah, 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 blah. While the universe permeates all through you. What are you gonna do with your portion of God? Paragraph 10. For if hip hop was created explicitly for self-destruction, then self-destruction would be fine and we would thrive upon such a condition. But hip hop was not created to self-destruct. It was created to self-create. Hip hop, you don't stop. And this is how we know that its inspiration is of God. Hip hop's inspiration is of God. Hip hop came from within us, yet we still had to learn it. Did you hear that? Hip hop came from within us, yet still we had to learn it. In our early days, we felt the fullness of it, but still had to develop artistic techniques to express it in nature. Hip hop came to us from within us. Contemplate that for a minute. Hip hop came to us from within us. It's a self-expression. Here's another highlight. Paragraph 11 is a highlight. Highlight it now. Hip hop is the name of the love that rescued us from oppression. Hip hop, is the term given to the inner force that inspires us to self-create. This gospel is a tribute to the love that has saved us and brought us together under the title of hip hop. And this is the message. Love is the message. This is what we originally did our artistic elements for. We did it for the love. That unspoken collective intelligence that is shared psychically by all who belong to the group. That explains pretty much the entire book. It really explains our movement. And the highlights I read twice. Here it is again. Hip hop is the name of the love that rescued us from oppression, period. And there's a period there too. Hip hop, is the term given to the inner force that inspires us to self-create. The force in you that inspires you to self, that's what we are calling hip hop. This gospel is a tribute to that love, to the love that has saved us and brought us together under the title of hip hop. And this is the message. Love is the message. And by the way, that used to be a rhyme. Busy B and them used to say that, and others as well. What is the message? Love is the message. What is the message? Love is the message. These were early hip hop rhymes. And of course the song by Mother, Father, Sister, Brother, MFSB. You can look that up. Love is the message. Matter of fact, as a homework assignment, why don't you go ahead and look at that? MFSB, Love is the Message. And it had a break beat in it that was just crazy. Long record, plays about 15 minutes, 10 minutes. But there was a break beat in it. And DJs was cutting that up crazy. But that's where this line, just so you know, in your history, this is why this is also highlight as well. You got to know these little intricate little things. You got to know these little intricate things. So when people come to you and say, you know, how are you an expert on the gospel of hip hop? How are you an expert even on hip hop? It's because you know these little stories. You can connect these little pieces together. One piece to keep in mind is the piece that Simone read to us earlier, written by my mother, Jacqueline. Well, keep in mind that in the gospel, I wrote that it was given to me because it was given to our family. It was given to our family. But it was actually given to Simone. My mother actually wrote it for Simone because she lost her father at that moment, and she wrote that for her to have inspiration and keep moving. We then used it for a whole bunch of other reasons because it works. Absolutely. That 21-day mind blowout, you can't, it's unstoppable. But you should know that as a scholar, it's not in the book. That's why getting this right now, you're getting the deeper knowledge. You're getting the deeper aspect of it. And maybe later on, we'll have Jacqueline Parker come here and lay out some of the early knowledge, some of the knowledge from the old days. Knowledge like this, but from the old days when it was more original, where it comes from, what people had to do to develop that kind of mind. Imagine being a single parent in the 60s, 70s, and raising two boys in Brooklyn. You know, you had to know something. You had to grab something. You had to have some faith. You had to have a God. You had to have some knowledge that was beyond the everyday. And this is what we're teaching right now. So make sure you highlight that. Highlight paragraph, paragraph 11. Highlight that. Very important. So here we go, continuing. Paragraph 12, I'm on page 26. Those who belong to the group feel the love. Those who care for the group feel the love. This is how you know who's down with the culture. Forget all this talk, okay? You don't love this? How could you be down? You don't love hip hop? You don't have a love for it? So how you part of the culture? You just mouthing. So that's cool too, but you over there mouthing. There's no seriousness about what you're saying. And this is where we have to draw the distinction. We have to draw the distinction. Those who belong to the group, belong to the culture. Those who belong to the group feel the love. Those who care for the group feel the love. Those who seek love feel love. And it is this God that we serve. Did you hear that? There was something caring about us, something loving us before we even knew we was being cared for or even loved. And it was love. That's what it was. It wasn't anything else. It was a protection, a care that came over a certain group of people in the Bronx. So again, those who belong to the group feel the love. Those who care for the group feel the love. Those who seek love feel love. And it is this God that we serve. Without form, without name, without origin. The love is that saving force in the world. The saving force in the world many civilizations have written about and have called God for thousands of years. We have observed now that love is a divine activity. Love is a divine activity. An intelligence unto itself that saves, rewards, inspires, and teaches all who are part of its group. Love is God. But love seems to also be selective. It thinks and judges. I'll get back to unconditional love in a minute, but this is where we separate these poetic terms from what the energy and the vibration is really doing. Many follow the tradition that God is love. And yes, such is the truth. But when you really begin to live out this statement and you find that it is more the fact that love is God. God is a term that makes love understandable to us. The term God is not anything unto itself, but what the term God describes is actually love and the activities of love. Yes, for many people, God is love, but for us, love has been our God. Love has been what has been guiding, protecting us, guiding our direction. Our G-O-D has been a care, a love, a protection, a nurturing. Yes, for many people, reading this again. Yes, for many people, God is love, but for us, love has been our God. Love is what we have served, and it is love that has saved us. God is not above love. Love is God. Love is not from God. Love is the only God we have ever known. The term God is not above the term love, because without love, the term God has no meaning and ceases to exist. For it is love that defines God and empowers God to act. Love is the true God, and to love is God. For it is not God that governs and orders the universe, it is love. And it is not God that destroys the universe, it is the illusory absence of love. Therefore, let us return to our ancient understanding of God as an event of great love that operates as the universe itself. Let us return to our ancestral wisdom formed from the real experiences we have had with God, the love that has enlightened us. Before the kidnap, rape, theft, deception, and murder of our ancestors and grandparents, which forced upon us our modern day view and perception of God. We worship the power of love. We saw it, we felt it, and we expressed it toward one another, even to those who would eventually enslave our parents. Over many years, some of us would track its patterns and repeated behaviors in an effort to communicate and be more in harmony with such a being, love. Of all the virtues available to humanity, love is truly the God of them all. This gospel for hip hop acknowledges the love that sets us aside in the world and has made us hip hop. This gospel acknowledges the grace bestowed upon hip hop and hip hoppers and urges the hip hop community to rise to the promise God has made to us. I want you to highlight 20. And the reason we're highlighting these, and you'll begin to see the pattern of your highlight pieces. These are explanations, or at least in this first part of the book. These are quick explanations. Somebody walks up to you, you say, what are you about? You say, I'm a hip hop scholar. I am a hip hop cultural specialist. I am a hip hop cultural specialist. Someone says, well, what does that mean? I'm an expert at hip hop. Then they say, well, what does that mean? You say, well, you go through a whole bunch of things, like I'm a cultural anthropologist, I am a philosopher, I am a culture key. You can go through all of that. But when someone wants to know who you are and what is it that you teach, these highlights go straight to the point. Someone's asking you about what you teach. Someone's asking you about who you are. You can always come out of the gospel of hip hop. And that's what this is. And go back to what I was saying in the earlier part about agreement. When there is a team of us at the end of this when we're at our graduation period, when we finally read the whole gospel and understand it, when we get there will be a team of us that will speak a certain language, which is the language of the gospel. And we will know to ourselves who is really part of our group, who really loves, who is really the culture keeper, based on their language, based on how they write hip hop, based on how they approach it. So this is what we're also developing as a code language as well for us, those who are serious about the culture, those who are serious about the architecture of the culture, those who are willing to do the sacrifice work today to make sure that those hundreds of years from now get the accurate information and know what time it is and can be empowered by what we did today. Those of us who are down with that, these highlights are quick bullet points that explain everything that we're doing. Gospel of hip hop, temple of hip hop cultural specialist, and all the other titles as well. Teacher, attuned hip hopper, true hip hopper, temple representatives, and so on. It's all written out here. And that's the importance of the gospel of hip hop. It's our agreement. It's our agreement. If we can agree to speak like this and approach hip hop like this, we actually form the culture. Not talk, but actually it is talk. Right? If we could all talk in the same language, it's that language that forms the culture. It's that language that forms the tradition, the heritage, the ritual, the repeatedness of the culture itself. So that's what I just want to say, that's what these highlights are really about. Let me read that 20 to you one more time. And you'll notice it's a quick bullet point. What is this about? Here's what it's about. This gospel for hip hop acknowledges the love that sets us aside in the world, the love that set us aside in the world and has made us hip hop. This gospel acknowledges the grace bestowed upon hip hop and hip hoppers and urges the hip hop community to rise to the promise God has made to us. Imagine you saying that to a congregation of people. They say, well, what is the gospel of hip hop all about? Well, the gospel of hip hop acknowledges the love that set us aside in the world and made us hip hop. Can't nobody refute that. Something set us aside in the world is hip hop. You may not believe it. You may not care to be. You may not respect it, but it happened. But it happened. This is the truth. So if you allow other people to throw your truth in the garbage and have you kneel to their truth, that's on you. But here we are being empowered. We're being empowered by our understanding of our own culture. And we're unified in that thought with our own culture. And that's the point. That's the point. Paragraph 21. And what is the promise God has made to us? The promise is that if we turn from our ignorance and immaturity and seek the face of God, we shall experience that ancient blessing that topples the most powerful nations and establishes the nation that has repented and obeyed and has obeyed. The promise is that if we ever dare to rise to our divinity, God promises to meet us there. Again, if we ever dare to rise to our divinity, God promises to meet us there. Our divinity begins with the proper understanding of love and what it means to forgive and care for one another. Did you hear that? Let me read that one more time here. I got to get that in one more time. Our divinity, okay, begins with the proper understanding of love and what it means to forgive and care for one another. What a blessed community that would be. With this understanding, we learned that we could never really love God. We can only be love God toward each other. We have observed now that the way to experience God is to experience true love. And this is achieved not by receiving love, but by being love itself. Such an approach to spiritual living begins one's understanding of hip-hop's spiritual life. And again, this has nothing to do with the spiritual concepts and experiences of other cultures far older than ours. For we have realized now that your culture is your religion. And it is impossible for us hip-hoppers to have a relationship with God through a culture that is not inherently ours. Our culture is our direct connection to God. Our cultural life is the actual path that we must take to arrive at the presence and power of God. We can't go to nobody else's culture and think we're going to get God. It is crazy. And you want to know a secret? The reason we have received spirit from other cultures is because we are the spirit itself. We are the gods. So anywhere we go, we're going to feel spiritual. So we say, oh, I'm a Buddhist now. And you feel Buddhism. Why? Because you are the energy. It's you. It's not Buddhism. It's you that is the true Buddhist, now adding to this thing called Buddhism. You're a Hindu, you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're whatever it is. It's you that is deciding to be that and give that thing the energy, the validation, the existence. You're giving it the existence. So this is evidence of you as God. This is the evidence of it. The religion, the spirituality has no power unto itself. Nothing. It is you that have to come and give it your power. What is a Bible without a believer? What is a church without a congregation or a mosque or a synagogue or a temple? What is any of these without you? So if none of these can exist, I mean, I could see if there was a temple functioning every day with no people in it. It was miraculous. Somehow this thing just kept going, and somehow we knew it was a temple, and you go in there and get healed, and nobody ever. It was natural. It was just nobody ever touched nothing. No, most of these edifices we see today, these buildings we see today, they're useless until people walk in them. The books that are printed are useless until someone reads them. So who's the true God? Where's the real spirituality that if we're going to get down and talk truth, who's empowering who? Is it the religion or the spirituality that's empowering you, or is it you empowering the spirituality? Well, as you read further, you're going to find that it's actually both. It's you that empowers your spirituality, which in turn empowers you, which in turn you empower, which in turn empowers you. It's like a bank account. It's your money, but you give it to the bank. You may get some interest on it. They hold it for you. You got some other perks that go on there. You can pay your bills through the bank and all of this type of stuff. But it's you that gave your money to the bank. It's your money ultimately. And the same thing with your spiritual energy. You're the one giving it. You're the God. You're the spirit. You're the vibration. You're the energy. You're the healer and the healing. You are the faith. This is the point, or at least the point to this particular teaching. Your culture is your religion. We're going to highlight that later on. For we have realized now that your culture is your religion. And it is impossible for hip hoppers to have a relationship with God through a culture that is not inherently ours. Our culture is our direct connection to God. Our cultural life is the actual path. Our cultural life is the actual path that we must take to arrive at the presence and power of God. Much respect to all who seek the face of God. However, this gospel reflects the actual notes taken over a 14-year period with over 40 years of living hip hop spiritually. Others may have discovered other truths, but this gospel documents the spiritual truths we as a hip hop community have discovered at the birth of our civilization. Highlight that. And here's what you're highlighting. You're highlighting the second half of it. You can go ahead and highlight the whole paragraph, paragraph 24. You can go ahead and highlight that, but the emphasis here is this one. Others may have discovered other truths, but this gospel documents the spiritual truths we as a hip hop community have discovered at the birth of our civilization. These are the principles we must never forget. Highlight that. And you see the pattern of the highlighting? Explanations, quick explanations. This is what it is. What is the gospel of hip hop? The gospel of hip hop documents the spiritual truths we as a hip hop community have discovered from the birth of from the time we began. This is what it means for us to be and remain free, to take responsibility for ourselves, to be able to chart our own path toward the divine and make our own humble observations regarding spiritual, cultural, and political matters. Are we not free-thinking adults? Does God not speak to us as well? Well, let us begin acting as such, beginning with the documentation of what we have seen, heard, and felt regarding the activity of God for ourselves. Let us, as scholars and hip hop citizens, acknowledge the presence of the love that has saved us. With this gospel, let us proclaim our reconnection and trust for the love that has guided us thus far. We respect the experiences older civilizations have had with God, but now it is time we experience God for ourselves. We no longer need an interpreter. And this is the piece down here that I want you to highlight, not the whole chapter, just this piece right here. We no longer need an interpreter. Our culture is our religion, and our religion is our culture. Let's highlight that. That's the highlight right there. Because this is the piece right here. And no one can refute this too, by the way. These are the jewels of our culture. This is solid knowledge. This is not even debatable. Okay, there's nothing to debate here. This is straight and simple truth. We no longer need an interpreter. And notice the poetry of what's being said here. No longer need. We needed one earlier. We needed that Christian thing, that Jewish thing, that Muslim thing, that atheist thing, that Satanist thing, that Wiccan thing, that Hindu thing, that Buddhist. We needed all of that. We needed all of it. And we engaged it all. And even some stuff that's not so popular. We as a people, not just Black people, those who seek truth, we all seeked it all. We seeked it all. Okay. Now we're here in hip hop. Somehow all that truth led us right here. And here's the truth. We no longer need an interpreter as a culture. Our culture is our religion and our religion is our culture. That's it. And everyone else will say the same thing as well. It's not just us writing this or declaring this for ourselves. You ask anybody in any religion, anybody, it's also their culture. And you ask other people about their culture, you notice that it always has a religious aspect to it. Always, at least indigenous cultures. You know, there's other kinds of cultures like sports cultures. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people, anthropology, man, woman, child, family. Talking about that as culture, community. Always has some spiritualness to it. Always. Anybody culture. They tell you, no, there's a little spiritual piece over here, and I could ignore it, but it's still there. And so why hip hop as culture can approach God for itself? Well, it has, and that's what this is about. Such a life is not for everyone, though. Hip hop is alive. It is a thinking faculty in the universe itself, and it chooses who it shall reveal its secrets to. Those of us who have committed ourselves to observing the divine activities of love and human affairs have observed that the force that brought hip hop into existence planned, protected, and nurtured us long before we knew we were being developed into hip hop. Hip hop started for us before we were aware of it. And that's the love. That's what proves the love. Before we even knew, before the name hip hop, before any of this, there was a love on us that brought us to that name. That brought us to that name. Our observations over these years shows that divine love was the first act that got hip hop started. Did you hear that? Our observations show that divine love was the first act that got hip hop started. Something cared about us. Something cared about our group. Long before we knew what we would become, a loving force was at work guiding our steps and molding our collective character to become hip hop today. And we acknowledge the existence of this guiding force. It is this force that we owe our existence. All praise is due. All praise, glory, and worship be to God. The love that has made us hip hop. The love that made us hip hop. The care that made us hip hop. The guidance that made us hip hop. For we now know for sure that we belong to God, knowing that hip hop itself has its source in eternal being. Along with everything else in the known and unknown universe. Know this, hip hop exists for divine reasons. And we have come into material existence as part of the divine order of the universe. We, hip hop, are not a mistake. We are a manifestation of divine love. We are not here to just sing and dance. We are part of the divine order of things. Hip hop is a product of human genius, clearly inspired by divine mind. Therefore, our first work as a young nation is to take the source of our being more seriously. And this is what the Temple of Hip Hop is all about. Here, we approach the being of hip hop seriously. Now, here's another highlight. Because you'll notice, you'll see the pattern. And there's an error here as well. And I want to point out the errors to you. This is also part of the scholarly work. Here we approach hip hop. Here we approach the being of hip hop seriously. Highlight paragraph 32. and I'll show you the era. Announced in 1996, the Temple of Hip Hop was formed to work in 3 phases, and that's the era. Work in 3 phases. 1, as an organization that protects, preserves, and promotes hip hop culture. 2, to open a cultural learning center and facility for hip hop culture, featuring a museum exhibiting artifacts of hip hop culture. 3, to build a school recognizing and teaching hip hop as the consciousness of our common culture. And now 4, which is the era of 3 up at the top. 4, to create an authentic collaborative history for the culture. And this was, of course, quoted from a Men of Hip Hop calendar series in 1998. It was interesting that obviously whoever put the Men of Hip Hop calendar series of 1998 together was at one of our meetings, was probably at one of our meetings early on, and heard me say, "This is our 4-point plan. Here's what we're going to do." But when it was written, you can see the era is that it says the Temple of Hip Hop was formed to work in 3 phases, and then they give you 4 phases. That's an error, but we left it because we're quoting someone else's work. So we didn't correct it. We didn't say put 4 phases here because you're writing 4 phases. We just left it as it is. Spiritual writing is like that. Mistakes are not really mistakes. So just take that in as well as a little bit of scholarly knowledge. Not only is 32 explaining what the Temple of Hip Hop is actually here to do, one of its explanations, actually here to do, but you could see that it says it works in 3 phases, but when it's printed out, it's actually 4 phases. Paragraph 33. In short, the Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation society and ministry established to ensure the longevity and further development of traditional hip hop in the world. Our society is made up of exceptional hip hoppers who are united in the cause for hip hop's cultural, political, and spiritual expansion. Go ahead and highlight this right here. Not the whole of 33. Of course, you can do the whole of 30. I guess you connect 33 and 32. But here's the real important piece. The second part, the last sentence of paragraph 33. Our society is made up of exceptional hip hop who are united in the cause for hip hop's cultural, political, and spiritual expansion. Did you get that? Because if you're not here for that, then you're not really part of our society. As you can see, this is not about a record deal. This is not about touring. This is not about getting in the studio. This is not about ice around the neck. It's not about a video. This is not about that. We'll get to that. But that's not what this is about. To join our society here of hip hop cultural architects, our society is made up of exceptional hip hop who are united in the cause for hip hop's cultural, political, and spiritual expansion. Highlight that. Reading on 34. However, again, the Temple of Hip Hop, as well as the Gospel of Hip Hop.
Hold on, excuse me. Highlighting the whole paragraph?
You can, but no. I'm putting an emphasis on the last sentence of paragraph 33, which is, our society is made up of exceptional hip hoppers who are united in the cause for hip hop's cultural, political, and spiritual expansion. That's the key line.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Yes, indeed. Reading on to 34. However, again, the Temple of Hip Hop, as well as the Gospel of Hip Hop, are not intended for all people. Even those who are participating in hip hop's culture and elements Even those who participate in hip hop's culture and elements, this gospel still ain't for them. It's not, just because this is gospel of hip hop, everybody in hip hop supposed to be with it. Nope. Both the temple of hip hop and its gospel attract those hip hoppers who intuitively feel what is already presented in this first instrument and only need to be reminded of such truth in a culturally relevant way. For many people, this gospel will be more of a confirmation than an education. You got it? More of a confirmation than an education. Nothing that is taught here is actually new. However, the way in which it is taught is indeed new. Truth is truth, no matter where it comes from. It is only in the way that such truth is presented that gives the impression that what is being taught is somehow new or original. Much of what is taught here is ancient and timeless, and you will be able to find many of our principles in a variety of spiritual circles. But the reason for this gospel is that no one in my time seems to be speaking directly to the hip hop community regarding its spiritual, cultural, and political development. And part of the reason for this, I suspect, is that no one can do this work for us. This work we must do for and by ourselves. This is that part of our journey where we must go it alone, blazing our own path toward union with the divine. Know this: revolution only works for those that participate in it. Tradition reveals its secrets and its powers only to those who are committed to the tradition. Why don't we go ahead and highlight that? And as Sun One, as you just mentioned, if you want, you can highlight the whole 37, but the emphasis, what is to be, make sure you highlight, is know this: revolution only works for those who participate in it. Tradition reveals its secrets and its powers only to those who are committed to the tradition. And I remind you, this is ancient.
Okay, hold on, because I would say then no, just highlight what you said.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not or for our records when we do the check.
Yes.
Just the highlight that you mentioned.
Yes.
Don't highlight the whole paragraph. Just so that we could stay consistent with where and separate what it is.
No doubt. We'll get strict with that then.
Yes,
I was giving leeway to those who may want to be inspired by the whole paragraph, but you're right. We're giving.
They should be.
No,
it's always there.
Of course. No. That's a given. But we are given a test at the end of this.
Yes, indeed.
So you're absolutely correct. Why don't we go ahead and get exactly
right?
What are the highlight points? So just to go over that one more time, on paragraph 37, what is to be highlighted is know this: revolution only works for those that participate in it. Tradition reveals its secrets and its powers only to those who are committed to the tradition. Highlight.
Yes, indeed.
God speaks to those who speak to God. God listens to those who listen to God. The hip hop life that we live can only really be experienced by true hip hoppers committed to living hip hop spiritually. Others can read this gospel, watch instructional hip hop DVDs, even watch us imitating the effects of our real hip hop lives. But ultimately, if you have not committed your entire being to the spiritual exploration of hip hop, it will be a long time before you begin to experience the awareness of a spiritually lived hip hop life. And this goes for anything, really. If you're not gonna put your all into it, you ain't gonna get all out of it. And then you say, oh, this is stupid, it don't work, or it don't do nothing for me, or I wasn't inspired because you didn't put your all into it. Anything you put your all into is gonna reveal that to you. And that means anything. I mean, from religion to science to other skills, cooking and weaving, or cleaning a house, or having a child, or anything you put your all into, you're going to get good out of it. It's when we put half into it, or not really interested, but we're doing it because we have to. That's when the problems start. That's when the problem starts. When you're forced to do things you really don't want to do. Even further, those who choose not to develop themselves or the craft which feeds them and their children become subject to the agendas of those who have. And on a more personal note, if the people around you are not participants in the revolution you have embarked upon, they will not be able to comprehend your ways or take part in the fruits of your success. They have not traveled your path, therefore they will not they will not have in parentheses know your experience or perception. You can help them. You can give to them. You can assist them. You can teach them. You can love them. You can feed them. You can advise them. But you cannot share your space and time with those who have not traveled your path or have not gained your experience. That's a tough one. That's hard. It's not just written here. That's hard. You cannot trust those who haven't traveled your path with the commitments your path requires. Your path is for you. Your blessings are for you. Your talents are uniquely yours. Yes, you are special. Everything else can be shared except the actual living of your own life experiences. These are authentically yours. You should keep a journal, such as your personal gospel. The love in your heart will want to unite with those who suffer and are in need. But please remember that everyone is where they are because of who they are. Let me say that again. Please remember that everyone is where they are because of who they are. To truly save a person from their own illusions and hardships, it is not you that must unite with them, it's they that must unite with you. You uniting with the ignorant and the immature will only lead to your own suffering. And of course, you know we use these words spiritually, ignorant and immature. We're not calling blanket groups of people ignorant and immature. But there is a childish ignorance and a childish immaturity to the spiritual life. And you should know that when you see the words like ignorant and immature pop up in the gospel, these are not criticisms. These are real. People who are ignorant of spiritual life or immature to it, just got a little bit and they just getting started and making their own way and trying to stumble, but they're moving toward the light. Ignorance and immaturity. You uniting with the ignorant and the immature will only lead to your own suffering. Your natural humility and care for others will direct you to suffer with those who surround you because without you, they would be lost. You know it, they know it, but they front like you ain't special and you agree. I ain't special. I'm not above anyone. What I do, anyone can do if they just put their minds to it, end quote. All of this is simply not true. Because of the life path that you have chosen and mastered, you are actually special. And see, this is what a lot of people can't get through their head because we've been taught, humility. And if you say I'm special, you're conceited, or, some ego thing coming. And we know a lot of people who run around thinking, that they special, and you be like, no. Okay, so a lot of us are like, no, I'm not going to put that on me and say, I'm some sort of special being in this sense. But in the spiritual realm, okay, we're past humility here. If you don't have humility, you can't even get to this level. Okay, if you're a conceited, egotistical, self-centered kind of person that only thinks and cares for themselves, then the whole idea of spiritual knowledge is not even for you. Again, this goes back to that immaturity and that ignorance. Okay, but after you've humbled yourself, and after you've realized certain aspects of your own spiritual nature, that things are happening and results are coming in, and you can't deny that, though. That's the other side. That's the flip side to this. You can't deny who you are. You are special. And get used to feeling that. Get used to saying that. And say it to yourself. You ain't got to say it to nobody else. That's what people can start thinking, oh, they ego, oh, it's this and it's that. You don't have to say nothing to nobody. But if you don't feel it for yourself, that's where the problem can start. Low self-esteem, depression, doubt, fear. That's where it comes because you don't think you're special. You think if you got hit with a problem, you're going to lose. Why you think that? You're reading divine words. You come from divinity. If you get hit with a problem, you're going to solve it. You're going to overcome it. No challenge is bigger than you. This is the type of language that a divine being speaks. All of this is simply not true. The idea of, I ain't nobody, I can't do nothing, nobody perfect, da-da-da, boo, 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 boo. All of this is not true because, and I'm reading this again, because of the life path that you have chosen and mastered, you are actually special. Yes, you are respectfully above everyone else who has not mastered even their own life path and purpose. That's harsh, but it's the truth. And no, everyone cannot do what you do or even what you have done. Realize your uniqueness right now and let no one degrade you or lead you to doubt yourself with the experiences of their lives. Hip hop ain't no culture. Why? Because I don't think so. What? Hip hop ain't divine or of God. Why? Because I'm Christian. Because I'm Muslim. Because hip hop ain't no path to enlightenment. Why? Because I'm Buddhist. And so you're going to sit there and listen to these dudes degrade your culture, lift theirs up in your face, and you're supposed to go for that. That's not a cultural specialist. That's not even a citizen of the culture, of the community. A true citizen of the community is firm because they have experiences. No, you can't take away my experiences. I know what happened over here. Now you have yours over there, you have this, but I have evidence of my God right here and right now. Proof. Paragraph 43, we're coming to the close of this. Paragraph 45, we're coming to the close of this particular reading. Paragraph 45. Yes, you are special. You are hip hop. Your only challenge is your own belief in the existence of your own hip hop reality. Repent now. Your victory is closer to you than your hands. Prophet Farrakhan, Minister Louis Farrakhan, has already said to us, quote, you are not conscious of how powerful God has made you in the wrong direction. Farrakhan was dissing us. Straight up. Quote, you are not conscious of how powerful God has made you in the wrong direction. But if you turn in the right direction, you will spark revolution all over the world. But it's not a revolution of bloodshed, the prophet continued. I can't be like Jonah anymore, and neither can you, hiding from your mission, running away from your what your real assignment is. So the fish was swallowing you up. But when that boy learned to pray, he was spit up on dry land, and he said, I surrender, God. I've been fighting you, but I know it's time. I hope that you will say, I surrender, God. I know it's time that I do better than I am doing. Money is not more important than the rise of a suffering people into the fulfillment of the promise of God. Nothing is more important than your people becoming truly free. Now, before I end this, I want you to highlight that real quick. We're going to highlight Minister Farrakhan's words real quick right here. And this is a beat on the test. What we're highlighting is the very last part here where it says, let me just get my highlight on. We're highlighting this piece right here where it says, Money is not more important than the rise of a suffering people into the fulfillment of the promise of God. Nothing is more important than your people becoming truly free. That's the last highlight right there. This is it. This is it. And let me also say this too. The gospel of hip hop speaks the truth, and it captures the truth from wherever it has captured the truth. We have quoted Buddhists in this book, Muslims in this book, especially American Muslims, Nation of Islam, who's had a huge impact on hip hop. We quote 5%ers, the offshoot that has also had huge impact. We quote Christians within the gospel of hip hop as well. And then, of course, a whole host of philosophers. You'll notice within the divine performance, after every performance, there's a quote from another philosopher with a different view and this kind of thing. You'll notice that the reading of the gospel of hip hop puts you in the center of religious thought in the world. In the world. This book had to be written. This book had to be written with all of hip hop's citizens in mind. And you notice that hip hop has everyone from every religious faith is within our culture. And what a great religion that would be, the religion that unites all religions, the spiritual path that is comfortable in all spiritual paths, the spiritual path that all other spiritual paths are comfortable with itself. What a great spirituality that would be. This is what we're standing on. We're the only ones that can do this. Christians can't take Muslims in. Muslims can't take Jews in. Jews can't take Hindus in. Hindus can't take atheists in. Buddhists can't take, and it goes on and on. Everyone has their culture. Everyone has their language. Everyone has their way. And it's not even so much the hate. I'm not even pointing to, the immaturity of their own groups, those who hate this one and hate that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those who are serious about their Christianity or their Islam or, whatever it is. Whoever you serious about that. Even you who are serious about your Christianity, serious about your Judaism. You can't walk into a Hindu temple and start teaching and preaching, and these people actually going to give up their thing and say, yeah, let me become a Jew now. Or you give up your thing and now you become Hindu now. Or Muslim, even in that sense. Jews becoming Muslims, Muslims becoming Jews, and both then at the end of their walk becoming Christian. This is crazy. But is it? There's a new spiritual path on the horizon. And it's that path of the city. It's the urban spirituality. It's hip hop. It's hip hop who is able, our path is able to synthesize all spiritual thought into one cohesive activity that unites us with God. Why is that not that? I mean, what? I mean, is there anything beyond that? Is there a reason we ain't doing that? Is there a reason? Well, that's why you're on this call this week. That's why you're part of this movement, the Temple of Hip Hop, because we think that we can communicate with God through hip hop. That's what we think. We think that God is here with us right now. We think God made hip hop. We think our talents, breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJ, and beatboxing, all from God, all from divine mind, all from cosmic consciousness, the great spirit, you name it, all comes from that place. So by looking at our own talents, our own culture, our own ways, we see the activities of divinity. We communicate with the activities of divinity through our own activities of divinity. This is the whole point. So with the gospel of hip hop, you'll see Clarence McClendon, Christian minister, quoted. You'll see Minister Farrakhan quoted. You'll see others within this gospel quoted, and some I don't give names to, but their work is permeating within the book itself in that sense. So let me read this last part to you and close it out officially. Money is not more important than the rise of a suffering people into the fulfillment of the promise of God. Nothing is more important than your people becoming truly free. There it is. Next week, we'll get into the Promised Land, and it's a longer read. I'm hoping even that I can do a PowerPoint next week. And the reason I say hoping is because we're all becoming more busy. We're becoming more busy. I'm getting ready to go out, lecturing, touring, this kind of thing. The world is opening up. Cruise ships are getting back on the seas. I'll be in Europe and other places as well. And we're trying to be consistent with our teachings. And with this technology here, we most likely can be in that sense. We can be consistent with that. But keep in mind that, you know, every week that we come on is, I won't say that it's, well, it's definitely not a struggle here, but it's difficult to teach divine knowledge and not be affected by it. What I teach, I live. What Son One teaches, he lives. What G. Simone teaches, she lives. And what you teach, I'm quite sure you know you live. And in my instance, I teach the gospel of hip hop, and it gives me peace and it gives me prosperity. It brings health, love, awareness, and wealth to my situation. Everything about the gospel, I'm living it. And so it's difficult to just sit here and talk about it and teach about it or read about it. The principles that I'm imparting to you are hitting me. They're hitting me. So if I preach prosperity, believe that prosperity is hitting me and I have to respond to that. If I'm preaching peace, peace is hitting me. I'm preaching love, and love is indeed hitting me. And so it interrupts the teaching that we're able to do, because you're being affected by the teaching itself. It's not something that I'm reading to you and it's not happening to me. No, everything I'm reading to you is actually, really has happened and continues to happen. It's the lifestyle. It's the spiritual life. So this has been a short read for us. What?
That was my cue. Interrupt the teacher. Let's go.
And well, you know, I'm at the end. I was getting ready to call you. It's funny you jumped right on. To take us out. It was a short read, but I think you get the point. I think we all get the point. And you know, the main point here, at least going forward up, is first and foremost, you are special. If you're part of this call right now, you are indeed a special human being. And I'm not just gassing it. I'm saying, to be part of this type of discussion, you can't be part of another kind of discussion. Like, to comprehend this, you for sure can't be part of that. So it's like, no, realize your greatness right now. Realize who you really are at this moment. You know, those listening to me, Son One, realize who you are. You know what I'm saying? Realize the God man in yourself right there and what you have done, you know, and realize that. And it's not just realize it from a memory point of view or you know you did it, but no, you realize the divinity. And this is the point, the divinity of it all. Amazing. Just a quick shout out. I got to give some shout outs just in case it goes out and I didn't give the shout out. Shout out to D Nice. Big up to D Nice. He's getting ready to, he's embarking on his mission. But me and him are going to get together in Brooklyn in September. Save your money if you want to come. We're going to have a special Temple of Hip Hop from Brooklyn. If you want to be part of that. Shout out to D Nice on that level as well. Shout out to Kanye West and his whole team. They hit me up the other day. His manager's having a birthday party. Of course, they want the KR at the birthday party to give them raw hip hop for real. So we'll see what happens with that. They out in Colorado somewhere, and I don't know if I want to be up there like that, you know, in that sense. Go all the way to the West Coast like that. I don't know about that. But it was an honor to be invited to his manager's birthday party, which all of them will be there to, you know, salute the manager and stuff. So KRS would be there giving that rhyme and giving you raw hip hop in that sense. Temple of Hip Hop members are, of course, invited to several of these. SIMONE will be going over that with you, because when we go out, we're going to have our exhibit. We'll be asking for your help. We'll need volunteers, blah, 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 and all of this type of stuff. So, and we're only asking those who are part of our attendance. I just saw attendance check-in, Gospel of Hip Hop. We're only, and I'm not saying as on an elitist level. I'm saying if you haven't studied with us, there's no way that you can walk with me in this world on a tour. This is just no way. So only those that are studying with us will be the ones who will be looking at first and foremost to engage this kind of activity. Big up to them. Shout out to Vegas, specifically the MGM Grand. They're doing their thing out there and starting to open up again there as well. Shout out to Georgia State University, who wants me to teach a course there in 2022. 2022, they want to legitimize, and this is from them. They want to legitimize their hip hop course, and they said there's only one place to go, and here it is. So big up to Georgia State University for wanting to do their thing in that sense, and I'm open to it as well. If we could work something out, then I'll be a professor at Georgia State University, giving our spew on hip hop. Helping these students to understand what it really is. And it's such a shame, because I'll be on the academic side. I'll breeze over the spiritual side of it so that they know that it exists. But the academic side is almost powerless without the spiritual side. So it's going to be a really good lecture to get into, because I could teach you contracts, riders, how to book, how to make festivals. I could teach you about breaking, techniques of DJing, graffiti writing, and where these things go. This is all the academic. You sit down in a class and learn this kind of stuff. But once you get your certificate and got to go out in that real world, it's not about what you've memorized. There's a character that comes over you. There's a thing you had to get, and that's the spiritual side of this. That's the inner man, inner woman that has to be right in order for all this knowledge to work. And so there it is. So I gave my shout outs. There's a couple more as well, but I just want to shout those people out because they also listen to the calls here as well. So I give them the shout out in that sense. Son one, I'm out. I'm gonna go kiss my wife and my mother. We're gonna go and talk about the future as well. And just so you know, I'll say this over this line as well. You know, we're gonna get Mom into the Criminal Minded interview.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I was thinking about that,
but no doubt, because her story,
yes, sir.
Her story is crazy. Absolutely, and gives us the other angle. For those that are listening to us, Son One and I are working on it's called The Story of Criminal Minded, which is the album. It's not my whole life story, but it's just the story of how the Criminal Minded album was made. And it gets into a little bit of my childhood as well, and how I developed as an MC and this kind of thing and so on. So we talk extensively about my mother, who is the one that bought she bought Rapper's Delight. That was hip hop. She was this woman right here. She's the one who was buying the rap records and chilling in the parks and doing all this and bringing her little 8-year-old kid to these block party jams and this kind of thing back in the 70s. And you see how it turned out. This is how it turned out. So, we're going to capture that story as well, and make the Criminal Minded making of the album that much more chunkier, and do that. But it's really an amazing time at this particular moment. It's really an amazing time. I called Kenny up. He fell out the other day, because, you know, again, and I'll say this as well as I go out, that, you know, my mother's a monk, okay, just so you know, okay, she's like a missionary, you know, and she's out in Belize, she does her missionary work, she does her thing, you know, and so on. You can catch her out in the rainforest somewhere. So to have her in the city, and in this sense, is really an honor for me, because again, your mom's is all over the world, all over the place, out in the mountains. She be in Haiti, Costa Rica, this place. Then, you know, you hear this, you know, you keep the phone call going, but it's nothing like having your mother actually with you here, in your actual presence here. And then, of course, the history that we're trying to tell as well, you need that elder. You need the elder to be like, no, well, this is what happened. And here's the other side to it. And I say this just for people to really realize how important it is, your legacy, your heritage, your traditions. Get a journal, take pictures of your family, get the film out, even if it's stupid, just shoot yourselves eating dinner together, just, you know, capture that, because it really is important. And days go by, every day is a historical moment. Every single day is historical. We just don't document it. And then years go by and our children are wondering, well, why am I thinking like this? Why do I like these clothes? Why is my hair like this? Why do I taste these foods? You don't know why you do it until some elder comes along and says, no, boy, back in the days, we was at the pot cooking this thing, and this is why you like what you like. And you get enlightened, like, word, I got a piece of me over here. Now I know why I'm like who I am. This is the point. This is the point to parenting. In that sense, I have 3 generations with me right now. In that sense, and it's funny. I stand in the middle. I'm actually in the center of that, with my mother, and then of course my eldest son Chris having his child.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. So it's like, you better wake up. You better realize it's not just about rapping and shaking your ass. This is about real heritage and the building of real legacy, and those that are putting their name to what we are doing here believe that you putting your name upon a brick, upon a stone, that in the years to come, 200 years, 100 years, 50 years from now, you know, your name reigns supreme. Your children could go back to our records and say, my dad was part of that movement at the early day. My mom's was part of that. I was part of that movement back in the early days. And now look at it. Now it's this, and now it's that. And now I can walk in with this kind of honor and respect, help my children, you know, this kind of thing. That's what we're building. That's what we're building right now, every week, every day, really. But every week on this call, that's what we're building. Culture, heritage, tradition. Nail. That's what it is. I'm out, son. What? I'll be listening to you.
Well, hold on real quick.
Saying what you saying.
I just want to say, may nobody breeze over the fact that we start reading the Gospel of Hip Hop, or finally the teacher starts reading the Gospel of Hip Hop from cover to cover, and the Queen Mother shows up.
No doubt.
In the essence, everybody just hold that for a quick second, and I want to make sure that she knows, and that everybody as witness, because you know I know when I'm in history. Your mother should know that at least myself, I've memorized and said those words over 1,000 times, at least. But she should know that there's way beyond just me, as far as people who that has changed people's lives. And like you said, that 21-day affirmation will literally change your reality and existence. And she should know that her words did that. And very likely those words will last forever. on this planet, just like the Lord's Prayer.
Right. Right.
If people know that, people are gonna know that, and she should take pride in. I'm sitting here looking at, yes, you are special. She is special. I don't know how Simone kept it together. I lost it. Second went down. I can't lie to you. There was no way I was coming on. But this is what it is, and I just want to express my gratitude for that, my love for that. And I just wanted to say it while you were here.
No doubt. They're having dinner. They're eating. Simone and my mother's eating in the back over here. Yeah. I don't know if y'all can hear this. Oh, forget it. They over there.
Yeah. Watch it back.
It is what it is. Of course we will.
I'll tell her. Hopefully, I'll be graced to be able to tell her in person.
Oh yeah, you see. Oh come on, you already know. You'll be over here in a minute. We got work to do. No, absolutely. But it, well taken.
Word.
Well taken, and the blessing on the elder. I tell you the truth, it's nothing like it's nothing like fulfilling a childhood dream.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like this. My mother's the one who I told that I would be a rapper, and remember, I left home. This is the one that I left. Okay, this is it. Okay. I told her I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. And the only reason I knew that is because she was teaching me the power of the mind. And in the 70s, that's the piece that just cracks my skull open. In the 70s, I'm reading all these books, she's taking me places and so on. And I get to a point in the 80s where I'm like, yo, I got this now. I'm an MC and it's gonna be this and so on. I left home to pursue that and left for many years. And my mother was worried and, all of this type of stuff. I wasn't the model kid in that sense. I'm not going to school. I'm truant. I'm running away from home. I'm with this thing called hip hop. I'm like, yo, it's crazy. But in the end, like my mother just said, she said, stay with your kids, man. Stay with your family because you never know. You just don't know. And in the end, it did turn out to be this now. And it's not even so much that I'm KRS-ONE in this instance, but it's really has to do with the power of the mind. Yeah. It's like, no, dude, we dreamt this whole thing up. Yeah. Like, do you understand what I'm saying to you? We dreamt it up. Like, get this, okay? And of course, my mother, and of course, Kenny. We got to drag. Kenny's the next one. I'm gonna have him come on. Maybe, yeah, Kenny should come on next week.
No doubt.
But have Kenny come in, and because these are my only witnesses. Was part of he's from my childhood. The only witnesses to see the formation of KRS-ONE, how I became who I am from a very intimate point of view, not how I came to what I am at Boogie Down Productions with record deals and so on. But before that, when you was just learning how to write and just forming your ideas, and you turn to your brother and be like, man, I'm gonna be a rapper. And he's like, man, get out of here. You corny, and it's like you doing that. And it's like, it was a funny thing.
No doubt. Well, the power of mind thing that you're saying is funny to me because yesterday, literally, I picked up this guy. It was late night. And he met me, or as soon as we met, he was cracking a joke. It was funny. Hopped in the car, whatever, taking him with his laundry to his house. He starts saying a joke. And mind you, the joke lasts the whole way. I'm up front, dying laughing, and actually living laughing. And as we get to his house, he said, "You know what?" He said the second I saw you, something about you, he was like, I felt like I could talk to you. He said, and it's something you just make me he's like, you just make me want to talk to you. and he's like, there's something about you that's very welcoming, and this, that, and the third. And before he gets out, he goes, man, I just want you to know everything that you want in this world, you can get it, or you're gonna get it. And he said, just literally point to it and say, that's mine. And I was like, no doubt. Mind you, this dude, he's 40 years old. He's only 2 years older than me. Looks a lot older. But but he was only, or he told me he was only 40. And I was just like, this is so random, but great. And I'm like, thank you. I was like, really? That's what I'm working on. I said, and when I get it, you'll know I got it. So come find me when I get it. Because I'm gonna be all that, like, or to me, the what's being worked on in this last point, or that you even read in the love, the money is not more important than the rise of a suffering people into fulfillment of the promise of God. And it's like, obviously, that's all we're promoting. This is our purpose. Is the rising of a suffering people. And it's like, it's crazy, because even where God's positioned me right now, I'm picking up more of those suffering people. And it's like right.
All those suffering people.
Yeah, nah, straight up. I can see it. I can see it in their face. I can see it in their actions. Or right, that they walking around suffering. So of course I'm in a sense, I mean, I do my best to say certain things at certain times when the opportunity presents itself. But really, I'm silently praying, looking at these people, wishing great things, or I know, or as the gospel says, or to look at people and tell them you love them, or whatever, to yourself. You got to say it out loud. Just look at them and do that. Like, that's the daily. And I know that's why really everything is the way it is. And this is why or people should take, I think I say this every week, people should take this very seriously. Because the love, and I was meditating on this, knowing that we were doing the love, it's really everything in existence is the love. And especially this gospel, which makes it very clear and reveals how much God really loves us for real. But I was just looking at, I was like, yo, a tree is love. How is a tree love? The tree, or everything being in existence, allowing us to exist. And I'm looking at everything, down to the bugs, down to the, I know it's hard for people to realize that that this whole thing is a system of God, in that everything is helping each other exist. We even may be thinking that we're tearing down stuff and causing the destruction of things, when in reality, we're not outside of God's plan whatsoever. And that we're aiding to other things existing as they're aiding to our existence. And it's really love that's allowing us to be. So yeah, that's me.
It's really love that's allowing us to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the teaching. That is the week's teaching.
Word.
In a nutshell, you have comprehended totally what that chapter is about. Love allows us to be.
Word.
And when you realize that depth of your being, when you realize that depth of yourself, you can only have that. That explodes within you, and that's the only personality you can have.
Right.
Once you realize it. And this is the point, man.
One of or before I forget, the part where you express about what are you doing with your portion of God.
Yeah.
I think, and that was in paragraph 9 on page 25. I think, or just as advice to everybody, try to just do or eliminate the portions that you're doing wrong stuff with, or of God, or make more time in your life with your portion of God something that you could be proud about, and not necessarily because or we all know different things that we doing. If you really looked at every moment of your life and every second of your life, that this is a portion of God, and what are you doing with that? To me, that's a huge eye opener. To be able to govern yourself and get yourself right to the point where you're making sure that your portion, or what you're doing with your portion of God, through the allotted amount of time that you have in consciousness, that you make sure that it's right and exact as much as humanly possible or godly possible.
And don't worry about what other people are doing with their portion of
Right.
God.
That's right.
What are you doing with your portion?
Right.
And that woke me up years ago. Woke me right up. What are you doing with your portion of God? Throwing PM Dawn off the stage? I had to wake up, man. I had to wake up to that. Like, what are you doing with your portion of God?
Yes, indeed.
And it cleans you up, man. It makes you look at yourself and be like, wow, is that what I want to do with my proximity to divinity? Is this how I'd like to acknowledge the love?
Right. And not just that, but what your portion of God really could be used for.
Boom.
Is what got me. Is that this thing really does work, where or the interacting with the portion of God where you can look at something and say, that's mine. And God's like, I got you.
Got you. Something responded.
Right.
Something responded. So you prayed to something and something actually responded.
Right. Right. It was like, no problem.
No problem.
But
I mean, what a double blessing on that, because you get what you want.
Right.
And then if you really think about it, you say, but wait a minute. How did I get it? Who answered me? What answered? The circumstance, life, God, ancestors, something answered me. So you get the double blessing. You get what you need, but you also get this relationship. And it's like, would you really betray the relationship?
Right.
And that's what it really comes down to. Are you going to betray or portray your relationship with God? You're either going to portray it or betray it. Mm. And that's it. This is what it all comes down to in that sense, as an actual character. It's interesting. You got me going now. Come on, we've been talking for 2 hours.
Yeah. No,
This is a short one. This is a short one this week. This is a short one. Maybe you want to throw some more videos on and get us cut off the air.
Yeah, silly. Or they should just watch it again. If they need more. I know I'm gonna be peeping this for a minute.
No doubt.
So there it is. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again.
No doubt.
Of course, hit that check-in at gospelofhiphop1@gmail.com. I heard it going off, but I know I didn't hear it going off 81 times. So, again, that's if you even want to. Some people I know, or you really just don't want to be involved like that, and that's cool, I guess. But for those that do, this is this is what you should get adjusted to and get used to. The fact of, no, you show up, you send that email to the same place every week. It just shows, or to me, it shows that it's a good character trait to be able to follow instructions when they're not harming you. Yeah, straight up. So
no, but I tell you the truth. Someone, let me jump in. It is a good character trait, not only from a point of view of following instructions, but also from how serious are you taking these teachings, straight up and down. I know for many this is entertainment. That this, here we are talking, and it's a great way to pass your time, and we respect that. Leave it at entertainment. Leave it at that. But always know that this is not entertainment. This is not that. This is real life skills. And you know how it works. If you got 80 people online, it's really only 8 that's really going to say, no, I really want this. I really need this. I want to see the world through this particular education. You're only going to get like 8 because everybody can't do it. And that was also read. The gospel hip hop is not for everybody. It's all good. My music ain't for everybody. Okay, everybody don't like everything I rap about. It's all good, but know that this is not entertainment. These are real principles, sciences, paths that you can take to advance your life, and we are living proof of it. Like I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's becoming more and more difficult because we putting the vibration out in the universe, and now it's hitting us. And I really should hurry up and say, peace and prosperity and the temple call. It's on Sundays. Let me add that to my affirmation because no, we getting hit, and I see the breeze already coming. Like, no, you about to get hit again, and here it is, and it's difficult to teach this and not be affected by it or not have the effects in your own life. So again, this is not entertainment. This is some real, and people need to really pay attention to what's going on. But if it's just entertainment for you, then it's all good. Enjoy this. Let it be inspirational. Leave it at that. And leave it at that. It's nothing, there's no reason to go any further.
To me, the real interaction with God is a lot more enjoyable than the entertainment.
Well, I tell you, son, Whistle, that you are a privileged human being because, again, God is a privilege, not a right. And to even have a relationship with the Most High, it brings you to a place that you in that place, and you in that special place. God is not for everybody.
No.
God ain't for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Even God ain't for everybody, So it's like, if you really part of this, you really part. And if you not, then you not. And that's also holy too. Because if you truthfully ain't down, the truth is what's the shining light. I ain't really down. Be truthful with that. Don't come here fronting. Be truthful. So at least you still remain in holiness. Saying, I'm being truthful. I ain't with none of this. and there's a holiness.
Right, that's right.
Even within that. But if you fronting, come on, the universe is going to start fronting on you. The universe is a mirror. You front, the universe start fronting. You start meeting people fronting. You start hearing stupid stuff. Why? Because you stupid. Because you deceiving, because you lying, because you going through all this. Now you got to meet all these people. You just don't need it. You just don't need it. Walk in love, walk in health, love, awareness, and wealth. That's it. That's all we need. The H law. That's it. Simple and plain. So next week.
Yes, sir. Know what it is.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Son Whistle, you know what it is.
Yeah.
We out.
Peace to the God.
Peace to the gods.
Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power. 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 That's right. That's what we want. Black power. We don't have to be ashamed of it.
This is not a regular, this is that boom, blah, blah, blah. Some they call it secular, I just call it black, black, black. Marcus Garvey, Bookman, Dottie, bring that army back, back, back. Malcolm X and Kwame Ture, this is where I'm at. If you wanna talk to me about black, black, black. Haile Selassie the first, Negus Nagas, let's talk about that. Kaboom, Nanny Maroon and all the Maroons, let's talk about that. The real Underground Railroad, the first subway for black, black, black. The freedom train begins with your brain. Get in on track. Whether justice or injustice, how do you react? Can you stand there laughing while they shoot us in the black, black, black? This is what some rappers sound like every time they rap. I'm raising up the red and the green.
Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power. 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 That's right. That's what we want. Black power. We don't have to be ashamed of it.
This is not a regular, this is that boom, blah, blah, blah. Some they call it secular, I just call it black, black, black. Marcus Garvey, Bookman, Dottie, bring that army back, back, back. Malcolm X and Kwame Ture, this is where I'm at. If you wanna talk to me about black, black, black. Haile Selassie the first, Negus Nagas, let's talk about that. Kaboom, Nanny Maroon and all the Maroons, let's talk about that. The real Underground Railroad, the first subway for black, black, black. The freedom train begins with your brain. Get in on track. Whether justice or injustice, how do you react? Can you stand there laughing while they shoot us in the black, black, black? This is what some rappers sound like every time they rap. I'm raising up the red and the green and the black, black, black. Even with no cops in the hood, we still hear click, click, clack, clack, clack. I cannot forget my ancestors just because I rap. Look at me from top to bottom. KRS is black, black, black. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach out. This is what black about. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach out. This is what I rap about. Get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach out. Too many selling out. Get up, get out, reach out, lift up, yes out. Time to ask the question now, are you really black, black, black? It is not a mystery, we under attack. If you're chatting fuckery, you whole our people back. Time to put aside the fantasy and deal with fact. This is not the time to be talking all that crap. Those that talk that crap, or those that don't fight back. You can say what you like, but real skill I never lack. Black is more a consciousness, the way you think and act. Yo, get up, get out, speak up, speak out, reach out. This is what black about.